In the heart of Amberleaf Forest, where sunbeams danced like golden ribbons and the wind hummed little tunes through the trees, lived a tiny squirrel named Miso. Unlike the other squirrels, Miso had a fluffy tail with creamy white stripes, bright brown eyes that shimmered like wet chestnuts, and paws always smudged with colors. Yes, colors. Where other squirrels collected nuts, walnuts, acorns, hazelnuts, pine seeds, Miso collected colors. He stored them in glass jars, painted leaves, shiny stones, even floating soap bubbles. Some jars glowed with lemony yellows, others pulsed with berry reds, and some flickered with morning sky blues. Miso's tree was the most colorful place in the forest. But to the other squirrels, it was the strangest. "Winter is coming," said an older squirrel, Bitterbark. "What will you eat, child?" "Colors." And the others laughed. Miso only smiled. "I don't collect nuts. I collect happiness. And happiness has many colors." But deep inside he worried. Would colors help him survive the winter? Was he foolish? Still, every morning he wandered the forest, hunting for the brightest shades. Sunset pinks, mossy greens, butterfly purples. When he found a beautiful color, he trapped it gently in a jar and brought it home. Little did he know, this winter would be unlike any winter Amberleaf had ever seen. One morning, Miso woke early to catch the sunrise, as he always did. But when he climbed to his favorite branch, he froze. The sky was not pink. It wasn't orange. It wasn't golden. The sky was gray. Not cloudy gray, not rainy gray, but empty gray, as if someone had erased all its colors. Miso gasped. "The dawn colors. They're missing." He jumped from branch to branch, checking the river, the flowers, the butterfly fields. Everywhere he looked, the brightness was fading. Greens looked tired. Blues looked sleepy. Reds looked washed out and weak. Even the flowers drooped, confused. Miso rushed to his jars. At least his collected colors were safe, vibrant, swirling, alive. But then he noticed something horrific. The colors inside his jars were dimming too. Large patches of forest had turned pale like old fabric washed too many times. "This isn't normal," Miso whispered. "Something is stealing the colors from the world." Determined, he packed a tiny bag with paintbrushes, one glowing jar of sunrise gold, and a soft acorn-shaped lantern. He whispered to the fading forest, "I'll find out who is taking the colors, and I'll bring them back." And he began his journey toward the deepest part of the forest, where old trees stood twisted, where few animals ever wandered, where legends said a color thief lived. Was it true? Miso's heart pounded. But he had to try. As Miso traveled deeper into the forest, the world around him became more unsettling. The emerald leaves looked like dusty chalk. The river had turned from sparkling silver to dull stone gray. Even the blue jays were no longer blue. They were ashy, like birds drawn with a pencil. A little fawn stood by a stream, her eyes filled with confusion. "My spots, they're gone."
I'm turning sepia.
Miso touched one faded spot gently. "I'm going to fix this," he promised. By midday, he reached Gloomshade Hollow, the oldest part of Amberleaf Forest. Tall shadows stretched like tired arms. Wind carried a cold hush. It felt like a place where colors came to die. Suddenly, something moved. A swirling shape, like smoke made of shadows. Miso whispered, "Hello." The shape shifted, growing taller, wider, stretching like liquid night. Then two glowing teal eyes opened. A deep voice echoed, "Who enters my hollow?" Miso swallowed. His tiny legs trembled.
I'm Miso.
"I collect colors, and someone is stealing them from our forest." The shadow lowered until its eyes were right in front of him. "I am Grivix, guardian of balance," it said, "and I take what must be taken." "Why?" Miso cried. "The world needs colors. Flowers need colors. Sunsets need colors." Grivix's voice rumbled like a slow storm. "The forest is using too much color. Colors give magic, and magic is fading. Without balance, everything will collapse." Miso looked around at the lifeless trees. "This isn't balance. This is emptiness." Grivix fell silent. The smoky form flickered, uncertain. Miso continued softly. Let me help. I know colors better than anyone. Maybe we can restore balance without stealing everything. The spirit watched him carefully. Finally, it spoke. If you wish to restore color, you must complete 3 trials. Fail, and the forest will remain gray forever. Miso nodded bravely. I accept. Grivix raised a smoky hand, and 3 glowing symbols appeared in the air. The trial of red courage, the trial of blue calm, the trial of yellow joy. Miso took a deep breath. Let's begin. Trial of red, the cave of echoing flames. Miso found himself in front of a cavern glowing with ember-like light. Inside, fiery illusions of fear danced. Monsters, collapsing trees, roaring shadows. Miso's heart hammered, but he walked through them. He whispered, courage doesn't mean no fear. It means going forward anyway. As he reached the end, a glowing red ember floated into his paws. He had passed. Trial of blue, the lake of silent storms. Next, he arrived at a frozen lake. Winds howled. Waves thrashed. The water roared like a furious beast. To succeed, he had to remain calm. Miso sat on a stone, breathed slowly, and watched the chaos without letting it drown him. Gradually, the water stilled. A glowing blue droplet rose to him like a tear of peace. Trial of yellow, the garden of forgotten laughter. The final trial took him to a dull gray garden with broken toys, wilted flowers, and abandoned nests. He touched a cracked music box, played a soft, broken tune. Miso smiled gently. Then he laughed. Not loud, not forced, just warm and true. The garden responded. Color burst like confetti. Flowers bloomed. Birds chirped. A glowing yellow spark landed in his hands. The last trial, complete. When Miso returned to Grivix, carrying red, blue, and yellow, the forest spirit bowed. You have restored balance within yourself. Now use these colors to restore the world. Miso placed the 3 lights together. They fused into a shining rainbow orb. And then, boom! Color exploded across the sky, sweeping through the forest like a warm breeze. Trees regained their greens. Rivers shimmered. Animals brightened. Sunlight returned to gold. Amberleaf was alive again. Winter finally came. But this winter was different. Not only did the forest have colors, it had extra colors, gifted by Miso. The snow sparkled with pastel blues. Icicles glowed with faint pinks. Moonlight shimmered in gentle rainbow strokes. Animals no longer hid from the cold. They played in it. Your colors saved the forest, Bitterbark admitted. Perhaps colors are as important as nuts. Miso giggled. Everything has its place. Grivix appeared one last time, shimmering like a shadow touched by sunshine. You have taught the forest balance, it said. Carry the colors wisely. With that, the spirit dissolved into soft sparks of light. Miso's jars still glowed, but now they never dimmed. He became the keeper of colors, the only squirrel in the world trusted with the magic of hues. And every winter, when the sky turned cold and pale, Miso would climb to the highest branch and release a little color back into the world, to remind every creature that even in the darkest cold, there is always a color waiting to shine.
Thank you for watching. Like the video. Subscribe for more stories.